He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
For more than 4 decades, Dr. Stan Monteith has fought the New World Order. He's one of the icons, like G. Edward Griffin and Bob Chapman, and people that have been fighting for 40, 45 years. Jack McClam, 30 years. People like Red Beckman for 50 years. And we stand on their shoulders. He's got a show here weeknights on the Genesis Network, syndicated. Last time I checked, over, 40-something stations. Dr. Stan Monteith, just an amazing individual. We've got him for the next 52 minutes with us. And there's just a whole bunch of things in the news. The House and Senate have passed, but now it's got to go into conference, but it's passing by, 300 plus votes to 100 votes, 74 votes to 14 votes in the Senate. It's going to pass is what it appears right now. It has passed the Senate and the House. Now they've got to iron it out, and it openly states national draft. For seniors, young people, military training 18 to 24, others will be forced inoculation squads under health emergencies because we have their documents and their own statements. Law enforcement, criminal justice, literal youth brigades with weapons. That's mainstream news. It is off the charts. The bankers are bankrupting the country right now, bringing in world government openly, and announcing a new Bank of the World and a new super currency that the World Bank and IMF are already issuing, backed up by taxpayer money. It is just the greatest theft and fraud and scam ever seen. They are openly putting military liaison officers in every major police department, even small departments. They are openly using the military at checkpoints all over the country. They are openly telling police agencies, get ready for martial law. It's openly in the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, PDD 51. It's openly in public Pentagon directives and the Army War College, the Phoenix newspaper. I mean, it's just everywhere. A total nightmare. Dr. Stan Monteith, after 4+ decades fighting the globalists, as they built this architecture, the U.S. was a big target to take down. We, I believe, are now at the flashpoint. They are preparing to go red or go hot on us, and this is the moment of truth in the next 12 to 18 months. Do you concur?
I totally agree. I think that, but we have the option, we have the opportunity to reach people now that we never had before. And I think there are more people out there listening than ever before because they know something's wrong. They're looking for answers, and you've got them.
Specifically, boil it down. The globalists from their own documents, because you're a stickler on that, master plan, what they're doing with the worldwide economy, how you see this breaking down with the military and police, because I'm talking to them, most of them are awake. So I think the globalists have miscalculated, but break down the big picture.
Well, basically what they've done is they've artificially created a financial crisis. This whole thing is contrived from the get-go, and we could spend hours just talking how they've done it, but be that as it may, the whole world economy is collapsing. And this was done very intentionally because you can't have a world government if you got a few countries out there that are independent and where people could flee to, as they fled from Hitler's Germany, during before the Second World War. The Jews could, at least some of them could get out. But there's no place to flee to today because every country in the world, their economy is collapsing, their banks are simply becoming insolvent, and that's going to be the excuse that's used to bring this new economic order, this new world government. Henry Kissinger, I know certainly you well aware of the article he wrote on the 12th of January in the International Herald Tribune, where he in essence said that this is a wonderful opportunity, this financial crisis, and we have two options, either a new international order or chaos. Well, most people do anything rather than live in a society where there's anarchy and chaos.
And I would just
that's
add,
how they're going to bring this thing about.
I would just add, he also said that word for word on MSNBC, and then all the people started parroting the talking point all over the news. Go ahead.
And certainly, I think that what they're going to do here in the United States is destroy the value of our currency. And what they're doing, they're talking about, a trillion, 1.25 trillion dollars to begin to bail out the banks and buy up the toxic assets, and then another $300 billion here, another $200 billion there. And what they've admitted now is they've started to monetize our currency. In other words, they're simply going ahead and printing money. There's a wonderful little article at the Wall Street Journal I just found talking about how they don't have to borrow money. They can just go ahead and print money and massively expand the monetary supply. And then the article concludes with a statement, and when the economy begins to turn to normal, they hope that they're going to be able to get all this money out of the system and prevent runaway inflation. They hope. Well, I don't say they say that they hope, but I really believe there are people who want to destroy our currency, and they want to create this chaos because that is the vehicle by which they're going to bring about this one world government. And you know who they are, but our listeners need to understand that the Trilateral Commission is probably the apex of one of the secret organizations that exist today. Or you can go up to their website, but they're never going to tell you what they're really up to. They're never going to tell you that they put Barack Obama in power. I mean, who were his largest contributors? The second largest contributor was Goldman Sachs Bank. And there, of course, their head of that, CEO of that, is currently a member of the Trilateral Commission. Another large contributor was J.P. Morgan Chase, and they come from the Trilateral Commission, Citigroup, and certainly the major financial houses in the United States are either currently members of the Trilateral Commission or they have been members of the Trilateral Commission, and they are all dedicated to this idea of a world government. They are a subversive group. They want to destroy America. But what is most significant is, and what most people have missed when they discuss this, is the powerful spiritual forces behind this whole movement. And you get into the background of the control of finance, and you find out that many of these people are involved in the occult. You can go up on the internet and, for instance, Google J.P. Morgan, or go to one of the word searches and go to J.P. Morgan and type in the occult, and you'll find out that J.P. Morgan, certainly one of the most powerful forces in finance in the United States for 3/4 of a century, J.P. Morgan was deeply involved in the occult. Many members of the Rockefeller family are involved in the occult.
And they finance hundreds of public occult organizations. Let me stop you there and read a Barry Goldwater quote that he wrote in his book. It says, the Trilateral Commission is the international and is intended to be the vehicle for multinational consolidation of the commercial and banking interests by seizing control of the political governments of the United States. The Trilateral Commission represents a skillful, coordinated effort to seize control and consolidate the four centers of power: political, monetary, intellectual, and ecclesiastical.
Absolutely. And people don't understand that this is a subversive organization, and at least 11 members of the Trilateral Commission hold key positions in the Obama administration, from the National Security Council to the Chief of Security. And
it's a revolving door. A bunch of trilateralists and CFR people left when Bush went. They went back into the think tanks to set policy, and then those that had been on the bench, they went, into the administration. So it's a revolving door.
Well, what most people would find it very difficult to believe is that since 1976, every president or every vice president of the United States, sometimes it's both, sometimes it's just one, have been members of the Trilateral Commission up to the current administration. And now, of course, here they have 9 people. If that were true, why hasn't somebody told the American people? Why hasn't somebody told the American people that these people almost always control the State Department? I mean, Hillary Clinton's husband was a member of the Trilateral Commission, and certainly, they almost always control the Department of Defense. They almost always control the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Their people are always in key positions, and there's only, at the present time, there are only 87 American citizens who are a member of the North American group of the Trilateral Commission.
Well, did you see James Jones in the National Security Council on CFR website saying he takes his orders from Henry Kissinger?
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what administration it is. The same puppet masters are behind the scenes.
And, of course, James Jones, General Jones, is a member. He's one of the 87 members from Americans who are members of the North American group. I mean, how could that possibly be? His assistant, Thomas Donaldson, is a member of the Trilateral Commission. Here's a small cabal, and they are a cabal, and they work secretly behind the scenes, and they control the media. I mean, you find that the people who control the Washington Post and Newsweek magazine, their CEO, Mr. Graham, is a member of the Trilateral Commission. Mr. Zuckerman, who controls U.S. News and World Report. You go down the list, and of course you can go to my website, radioliberty.com, and we have all of this in my, it'll be the February newsletter. It's not up quite yet, but it will be shortly. And certainly I know you have the information as well.